Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Johan Olivier, and thank you very much for choosing to spend your time with me now. There are a couple of great tracks happening at the moment at the same time, and you choose to be here. So thank you for that, and I appreciate it. And you're in the right place. I'm here with a very important message, a very, very important message, and you are here because you are supposed to be here. And I hope this is a blessing and something of real value to you. So thank you very much. First of all, I just want to say that I don't want this to be a once-off encounter. I don't want to just do a motivational talk and equip you and then disappear. It's my desire to connect with you and journey with you, have a coffee, exchange some ideas, have further conversations. So if you want to, you can look me up on LinkedIn, on Twitter, or email me. My details are over there. And then we can have further discussions. And the other thing that I want to say is please write this talk. It's an enormous privilege to be able to speak here today. And I would like to return. I would like to get your feedback. It actually only takes one click. You go to that URL up there. There are only 3 sliders. You can slide them all the way to the right. It's easy. And you fill in some feedback, tell me how great I was, and then click submit, and it will save the feedback. But I really want your honest feedback. It will help me do a better job next time. It will help me shape the message to something that will make a change in the industry and in your lives. As I was preparing for this talk, I felt there's someone in the audience who's in a development career, but your career is no longer what it was. It kind of changed, and you're facing a lot of difficulties at the moment. I don't want to embarrass you. I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand or nod or stand up or something, but I want to let you know that we go through tough times, and there's someone here in the audience now who's facing difficulties. Please connect with me afterwards. I would like to chat to you. You're going to hear my story now, and I just want to help you. It's my desire to help you. So if that's you, please come to me afterwards. So I'm a developer. If you give me a PC, good music, headset, good technical problem, and you leave me alone, I'm happy. That's where I can focus, where I can do deep work, I can enter a state of flow. Man, it's a good space to be in. That's where we enjoy, that's where our passion is, that's what we love doing. That's why we started our careers in the IT industry as engineers and developers and testers and etc. But unfortunately, it doesn't always work that way. Sometimes we start off our career, but we face the reality, and that is you cannot develop your career in a bubble. And you cannot isolate yourself from this world and its many non-technical challenges. You are immersed in an ever-changing, complex, fast-moving world that expects nothing but the best from you while constantly throwing challenges at you. And I'm not talking about technical challenges. I'm talking about the things that you experience in the workplace. When you come off a Teams call, when you have a meeting with your team, when you are midway through a project, the things that are so complex and so difficult to understand, to internalize, and to respond to. And sometimes we want to try and figure these things out, and we want to respond, we want to get it out of the way, we want to get it off our shoulders, and the harder we try, the more we mess it up. See, programming is relatively complex, but compared to human interaction, it's very simple. When you face a technical problem, the serotonin and the dopamine will, and your keen interest will keep you going. You'll figure it out. You'll go. You'll burn the midnight oil. You'll carry on. And when you solve that technical problem, you'll feel, hey, I'm the best engineer out there. I've made this function a little faster, 2 milliseconds. I've saved my team. I saved the project. I'm the man. But when you face those stomach churning, emotional complex work situations, it's not so easy to get rid of it. And that's what I want to talk about today. The things that bog us down, the things that creates this heaviness on us, the things that makes us feel frustrated, angry, dissatisfied. You know what? It steals our joy and our energy. That once career which we enjoyed so much, and we were so passionate over, we just wonder, oh, what happened to that? How do I get it back? And so maybe we get into that chronic state of fatigue. Just don't feel like doing it anymore. Eh? It's just tough. So those are the things that I'm talking about. It's so difficult to deal with those type of things. And there's a lot of emotions, like I mentioned. But maybe you're in a situation where you feel your contributions are being ignored, especially with working remotely. We no longer see each other in the office day in and out. We work at home. We're quite isolated, and you just wonder, am I good enough? You look for signals. You want that acknowledgement, that confirmation, affirmation. My work is good. Why do we question that? You might be paralyzed with fear, and we live in very, very difficult times. There's a lot to be afraid of. There's a lot going on in the world right now. Did you know retrenchments went up in the last year by 624%? That's scary. And maybe there's a restructure in your company happening, and you don't have all the information, but it scares you. You don't want to leave, but it worries you. It paralyzes you. What about if you're stuck working on old tech? It happened to me. We had a fabulous product, which I actually architected, engineered, and helped design. And then we had got so many clients on it, and we couldn't just move them over to new technologies. But so if you work on SharePoint 2010, that's not what you want to be doing. And you know you should steer your career into the future. You should work on new tech. But how do you make that transition? It worries you. You know there's a problem. You don't know how to solve it. What about if you just can never get ahead? You know you can be so much better. You see so many new things at this conference today. You speak to experts, you discover new tech, and you're actually quite desperate to get home and to explore the new tech and to become good at it. You know you can. You know you can write those few blogs that you wanted to write. You know you can submit a paper and speak at the next Dev conference. But you're just busy. You're just so busy, day in and day out, just working. I know my mindset was, if I can just work faster, I'll be able to create some room so that I can write those blogs or do those things that I want to do. And I just never get ahead. We're just stuck in this. No matter how hard we try, we're not getting ahead. It's a marathon. And there are so many examples of things that trouble us. And it can be that you had a bad day, and then later it becomes situation where you actually realize you had a bad week. And then all of a sudden you realize, shit, but you know what? I'm having a bad season. Yo, what will I do? Stuff. You need to make a change, but you don't know how. You don't know what needs to change. You can't put your finger on it. You like the company. You've been there for so long. You're loyal. You're in a good space, but it's not what it was. How do I make that change? So I had an incredible career over the past 25 years. At one stage, I was a solutions architect, and I traveled the world, and I worked with teams. I've actually worked in person in 7 different countries across 4 continents. Germany, USA, most beautiful office buildings in New York. Scotland, beautiful, lavish offices. I lived in India for a year. Greece. So many places I worked and visited. And it was lovely. I enjoyed it. And I remember at the time, I firmly believed as long as I have the knowledge, as long as I'm the best technical person in this company and the best SharePoint architect in Cape Town, I will keep going. As long as I'm better than the guy next to me, technically, I will keep going. And I never paid attention to developing coping mechanisms. I never even questioned, how will I one day be able to cope with stress, anxiety, uncertainties? Because I once flew first class. I stayed in 5-star hotels, business class. It was great. And then after that, as my career changed and developed, and I got promoted, the landscape changed. And I started to rely a lot less on my technical abilities. And I started to rely a lot more on the things that are necessary in order to survive a complex world. We're getting bullied out there. How do we build resilience? And I got caught off guard. Yes, guys, I just couldn't shake it. I developed depression, burnout. I would open my laptop, just look at the screen, look at squirrel videos on YouTube. And I want to work and I want to have a sense of accomplishment. That's what we all want, all right? We want to feel we're making a difference. I just couldn't get myself to add value. I couldn't enjoy life outside of work. My wife would take me out to the movies and I would sit there. And she said, "What's up with your breathing?" I'm like, "I don't know. Relax, man, we're out." JP, chest pain. I ended up in hospital with stomach ulcers. I can tell you today that I've walked that road and it's a lot harder to recover from burnout, anxiety, and depression than to prevent it. And all this time, I was focusing on becoming better and better in terms of tech, and I neglected the other things that are important. And at this conference today, I'm so happy to see there are a couple of talks on non-tech topics, mental health, mental fitness, call it what you want. But at the end of the day, when this conference is over and the hunky-dory conversations is done, and we go home, we're alone, that's when the trouble comes to us, and that's when we need to be strong. So it was very tough for me, and out of a place of desperation, I started researching cognitive behavior therapy, organizational behavior, psychology, mentorship, those type of things, because all the other promotions from junior developer to senior developer to technical lead to director of engineering, etc., were technically focused. So every time I got a promotion, it was a bit of a rough time for a month or two, and then I settled in and I was fine. But as soon as I got to senior management, executive management, senior vice president of engineering, and the landscape changed so much, and I had become like a wet paper bag, useless. That's when I researched and I was desperate and I looked into the non-tech topics, and I've developed a series of principles that I want to share with you today from the School of Hard Knocks, let's call it that. And these aren't from a book. These are my own thoughts and the things that help me recover, the things that help me be resilient today, and the things that I want to warn you about. John F. Kennedy in 1962 during his inauguration speech said, "The best time to repair a roof is when the sun is shining. Not when it's raining and when you're going to struggle and everything's wet and it's a mess. When the sun is shining." So if you're sitting here today and you're in a good space, I'm so happy for you. But please consider what I'm about to share, because one day it can help you. One day it can help you. Don't get caught off guard like I did. Right, so first of all, do you know yourself? I met someone today and I said, "Yes, it's nice to meet you. Who are you? Do you know yourself?" And that was my problem. I saw every promotion as a new opportunity. Hey, new title, salary increase. But was it really what I was supposed to be doing? And how many of us take the time off, go up the mountain, isolate ourselves and ask the question, do I know myself? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? How do I perform where I'm supposed to be? Do I belong here? How do I contribute? Besides just writing code, what am I really supposed to do? Remember, the code that you write today is thrown out tomorrow. Businesses need it. What we produce is very important for the industry and for business, but it's not there forever. But it's a vehicle that helps you contribute in a bigger way. And do you know yourself well enough to identify what are you supposed to contribute? What is your identity? See, if you know your identity, you can stand firm. You can weather the storm. You're not going from left to right and all over the place. You know, okay, well, this thing is not supposed to bother me because I'm stronger than this. I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to do this. Yes, we take a learning. We had some setbacks. I'm supposed to carry on. Learn from leaders, but don't imitate them. So important to learn from your line manager, from your mentors, from your superiors. But just remember, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You are unique. You are unique. So don't try and be like your, let's not say boss, but let's not be your superior. We want to grow, we want to improve, but don't try and imitate someone else. That's very important. Now, the lion I love going to the Kruger Park, and the lion is a great source of inspiration. And Dr. Miles Monroe says that we should remember that the lion is the king of the jungle. Now, jungle, it's actually the vast openness, the plains, the animal kingdom. The lion is the king of the animal kingdom. The lion is not the smartest of the animals. Lion is not the strongest, it's not the biggest, it's not the heaviest, it's not the most intelligent. Yet, when the lion shows up, all the animals run away. Why? Because of respect. Because of respect. When a lion comes out of the bush and there's an elephant at the waterhole, he thinks one thing: I can eat this thing, it's lunch. And he acts the way he thinks. Remember that today, please. He acts the way he thinks. When the elephant sees that lion coming, he thinks, oh, shibbit, here's an eater. Better get out. But the elephant is bigger, probably more intelligent. So what's going on here? What's this dilemma? It comes down to attitude. The animals, the hyenas, the elephants, the animals respect the lion because of his attitude. And the attitude stems from what he believes about himself. So my question to me, myself, and you today is, what do we believe about ourselves? Do we just go to work every day hoping that people will respect us, hoping that people will hear us, hoping that we will make a difference, hoping that we won't get bullied? Or do we have a lion attitude? Do we respect ourselves? What do we believe of ourselves? Bruce Lee said, as you think, so shall you become. So don't go to work every day hoping it will be fine. It will be fine. You are unique. You are the victor, not the victim. You are the head, not the tail. You are in your workplace to make a difference. You're in the right place. Stand on your identity. Believe in yourself. Have respect for yourself. Have a lion mentality. And you will see how the world change. Once you know your identity, you can live purposefully. That makes a huge difference to life. Living with purpose means that what you do is aligned with what your beliefs, what you believe, and what your values are. It's so important. Tony Robbins, a well-known psychologist, talks about the Niagara River syndrome, and it happens to so many of us. We get into IT, we get into tech, get an opportunity, it looks great, and we jump into that river, and we get swept away by the currents. And we don't live intentionally. We don't live purposefully. We're not 100% sure where we want to go to, but it's a great opportunity. So when you get into a fork, the current might take you to the left, or it might take you to the right. You go with the flow, and as a result, you feel a little out of control. But it's okay, you're moving forward. And then later, all of a sudden, you realize, hey, there's a massive noise. What's going on here? And there's a Niagara Falls, there's a waterfall. You're in a boat with no oars. You're going to take the plunge. Your finances is going to fall. Your job security is going to fall. Your personality, I mean, like I struggled with depression and ulcers. I took that plunge because I wasn't steering my boat intentionally and purposefully. I wasn't living purposefully towards a specific goal. Unfortunately, Ray Dalio says, although you can have everything in life, although you can have anything in life, you can't have everything in life. So living purposefully and knowing and standing firm in your identity means sometimes, unfortunately, you have to say no to some things so that you can have something else. If it looks good to me, I'll take it. But not everything that's good is good for me in where I'm supposed to go. So there's a lot of benefits when you think about spending the time identifying who you are, your identity, and then living purposefully. You can make better choices. It can help you identify distractions. You get those out of the way. Just get those out of the way. You can focus on one thing at a time. Oh man, I've tried so many things, podcasts, blogs, speaking at conferences, mentoring at university, studying, volunteer work with overseas groups. And I'm just all over the show. Trim it down so you can do something that's in line with what you're supposed to do. And you can spend your energy there and become good at it. It also means that the challenges we face don't get compounded. You face one problem. You're not like a dozen different things across your life that bogs you down. It means you can empower yourself, continuous learning. You're learning and become better in a certain area. And those around you, you can use your knowledge like I'm doing today to try and help those around us. It means you can let go of failure. Don't dwell on failures and mistakes. Don't dwell on it. I've done that. Yeah, I work so hard and I spend so many hours and I do so good. And then I get to this one point where I make a mistake and I feel so bad. I wish I could take it back, but we can't. And then I dwell on it. Living purposefully means you pick up your head, you look forward, you move on. You're on a mission. Carry on. Next thing. It means you're not living perfectly. You're going to make mistakes and face setbacks, but you can keep moving forward. It helps you build resilience. You need to understand the journey. Our landscape changes. Organizations change, the world changes, environments change, technology changes. We as people mature and we grow up, it changes. Like I said, I've been in tech for 25 years. I'm a different person today than I was 25 years ago in terms of how I matured. So you start off as a junior developer and you go all the way, either become at a point you need to choose whether you're going to go into management and leadership or you're going to be an engineering specialist, and the landscape changes. And when Charles Darwin came across the blue-footed booby birds on the Galapagos Islands, he said, it's not the most intellectual of the species. It's not the most intelligent or the most strongest of the species that survives. But the species that survives are those who are best able to adapt to the changing environment that they're in. So once you know your identity, you can live purposefully. Once you do that, you must remember things will change and you must be able to adapt a little bit. Look inward, and guard against passivity. So many times we're looking for people or environments around us to change in order for our lives to work. So you're at the dinner and you talk about this work situation, and I just wish my boss could see things differently. I just wish this could change. And have you looked inward? It's like going to the doctor and he gives you a script that says, okay, you've got the flu. I'm going to give you a nasal spray, something for sore throat, antibiotics, and let's say some Panados for pain. But I want you to give the nasal spray to JP, and I want you to give the antibiotics to Tiani, and I want you to give that's not going to work. Don't always think my environment, the people that I'm among, the work situation must change in order for my life to become better. Look inward. You must manage yourself. Ray Dalio also talks about there's a worker me and a manager me. And so many times we are just the workers, but just elevate yourself and look downward on yourself and say, hey, let's manage myself. Let's manage this guy. What are the things that you need to do, the disciplines, the good habits, the bad things, where should we? Let's try and bring out the best in that person, yourself. Respect yourself, set your goals, manage your learning, manage your emotions, work on these things. Don't make the same mistake I made by just constantly improving my tech skills. Work on managing yourself. It's gonna be rewarding. Oh man, fear gets us. That stomach churns, and can't sleep. Can't sleep. It's that alarm going off saying, hey, there's a threat, something bad's going to happen. And that's sometimes fine. A small degree of it is fine because it propels you to go into action and to do something. That's okay. But when it becomes unhealthy, when it becomes chronic, when it steals your energy, there's a saying, deal with it or live in it. If you don't deal with it, it's going to get you. And it's caused by our imagination. Imagination is a powerful thing, but we can imagine things. Oh, shit, but Johan said in that talk, the retrenchments are up 624%. How secure is my job? Now you get a bit of information, so there's ignorance. Sometimes senior management in your company can't give you all the information because they're still busy processing things, still busy making decisions, and you don't have all the information, so you get bits and pieces, and then you use your imagination. There's a bit of ignorance, and then your thoughts run wild, and it's scary. There's doubt. We doubt ourselves. Because we don't know our identity and we don't live purposefully, we just wonder, is it okay? I can tell you guys today, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine, guys. It's going to be fine. It's scary sometimes. It's going to be fine. And there are ways that fear gets us more than just keeping us awake at night. It divides your mind. I mean, if I have emotional distress, frustration or fear or anxiety, I can sit in front of Visual Studio, or I can have an RFP open or whatever. I just can't focus. I just can't do my work. It divides my mind. It stifles my ability to concentrate. It causes indecision. I can't make decisions. It's just like I just don't know what to do. Do you guys ever feel that way? It gets us, eh? It affects your health. It leads to procrastination. Procrastination is actually you're just too afraid that you won't do it as well as you should be doing it, so you keep putting it off because maybe you're not going to be able to do it well. And it affects your ability to think and act, and it blocks your growth. So to deal with it is actually really simple. Do you know why zebras don't get ulcers? Dr. Robert Zabowski studied the behavior of apes in Kenya, and he wrote this book, Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers, but we do. It's because in the wild, when something scares you, your heart rate goes up, your breathing increases, your reproductive and your digestive system shuts down, and it all helps you to move faster, like half a second faster, and it saves your life, and then it's all over. And then you learn from that experience, and next time you'll be more careful at it, watering hole or whatever. Now, that's not supposed to happen 4 times a day or 6 times a week. When you come out of a meeting and you had a big scare and you're frightened, all of those things happen to us as well. But then our subconscious mind wants us to learn from that experience so that we don't face that threat again. So when you sit at home or you're at the movies, like I said earlier, you replay the situation in your mind thinking, what could I have done better? Should I have done this? Where was the problem really? How bad do I really look? You replay it in your mind, wanting to learn from the experience so you avoid it next time. And actually, the subconscious can't differentiate between reality and you thinking the situation. So what happens? Your whole body goes into that fight or flight mode again. Breathing changes, heartbeat goes up, etc. It's very unhealthy, and it's not supposed to happen so many times over and over and over. So watch out for that. So the way that you deal with it is you just acknowledge it. Hey, I'm facing fear right now. Just acknowledging it is already a massive breakthrough. And then You question it. You identify the true cause. What is really happening here? And then because you can identify it, you can name it, you can label it, you can test it against the truth. Is this the truth? Or is it my imagination? Do I maybe not have all the information? Should I maybe speak to someone? Should I figure it out? And then you change your focus and you stand firm in your identity. You know what you're supposed to do and where you're supposed to be and how you should contribute. And it's amazing when you do that. Everything changes. The problem doesn't go away, but everything changes. You become as light as a feather. It's like, oh man, I can breathe again. Yes. Wow, it's not that bad. It's bad, but it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Just that realization, testing it against the truth, changes everything. I want to tell you, you're not alone. There's been so many before you. And that's the thing. Do you know, pride of lions? How many of you have seen this picture where the lions lie there and there's a herd of buffalo and the lions want to go in for a kill, but they can't because there's a big herd and they're quite strong. They stick together and they just can't go in. But they wait, they lie and wait. They're king of the jungle, but they're pretty useless at that point. Until one of the weaker buffalo gets isolated from the herd or calf. And then they prowl. And they go in for a kill. And it's amazing. We had this conference, and there are so many of us here, 750 people. And there's camaraderie, and we in the same boat, we face the same complex world. But then we take these challenges and we're alone at home, vulnerable, isolated from the tribe, isolated from that herd, and the lions just get us all the time. So please remember, the challenges you face, although they may seem unique to you, they aren't. There's been so many before you who faced similar challenges. I have 25 years experience. JP has a lot of experience. There are people here sitting in this room with so much to offer, and the speakers and the leaders want to be there to serve. Don't feel it's out of place to reach out to someone who you listen to today. Connect. We appreciate it. We put a lot of effort into preparing, and we come with a message. We want to make an impact. So please don't feel that you can't reach out. If you don't have a mentor, someone you can trust, you can go and have a coffee with. Get a mentor, a good person, not someone who's going to lead you in the wrong path. Find a mentor, trust that person. Talk to that person. You find a lot of times when you verbalize something, you come up with your own answers. I sometimes go for coffee with someone. I actually see someone once a week. He's not even in the tech industry. He's retired. He doesn't even, has no interest. He doesn't even have a television at home. And I talk to him, and I'm like, oh, okay. By me verbalizing my problems and the challenges, I come to an insight and a perspective and a different angle on things, and it helps me. So please don't isolate yourself. You're going to get hurt. Surround yourself with caring people who are good for you, who can help you, and don't be afraid to talk about failures. I can tell you guys, I told you I was SVP of engineering. I flew first class overseas. I've also got out of a meeting, walked to the men's room a couple of years ago, closed the cubicle, and I cried. I cried so much the tears went down my back, wiped my face, dried my face, went back to my desk. Let's try again. It's okay. It happens. Don't try and wrestle with this on your own. Get someone you can talk to. It helps. Believe me, it's a lot harder to recover than to lean on someone and be that support to someone else. 2 years I went through a very tough time, and I'm so glad I can be here today to talk about it and help people around me, because now it wasn't a waste. It hurt like hell, but it wasn't a waste, because now I can use it to inspire someone else. I can use the learnings to help make a difference. The tough times that you go through can be beneficial for your future and for those around you. Lean on people. Never give up. You know, Thomas Edison failed 1,000 times before he succeeded in inventing the light bulb. 1,000 times. Got fired from his job because he wasn't productive. Walt Disney got fired from a newspaper editor because he wasn't creative enough. And he went bankrupt a few times before he started Disney, the company. Henry Ford went bankrupt 5 times. And Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team because he wasn't good enough. And he said, I became successful because of all my failures. So never give up. There will be times that you feel you just had enough. You just can't take it anymore. Don't give up. Tough times don't last. Tough people do. And then change the way you look at things. This made a massive impact on my life. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at changes. Change your lenses. Yeah, there's so much I'm going through now. I wonder, why am I going through this? You know what? We can choose to be the victim, or we can say, I want to learn something from this experience. It's not nice. It's not nice, but I want to learn something. Or I'm going through this so that I can be strong for those around me who's going through the same thing. I can have impact in the workplace. Depends on how you choose to look at it. It's tough. It's not easy, but it works. Do you get up every day and we just go to work, or do we question ourselves, why am I doing this? What's my purpose? Who am I going to influence today? How am I going to change the work environment? What good can I bring? This world is in a very bad state at the moment. We need flavor, we need salt, we need light, we need goodness in this world. Caring professionals who care for those around them. You can be that person. Use your trials and tribulations to build on it and then serve those around you. Be that change maker. Don't just be a coder. I'm not saying you're just a coder. It's important. But when you start to look through a different lens, you think, I'm going into this meeting now. It's a Scrum meeting. I'm going to talk code. But you know what? I want to have that lion attitude. And I'm going to show this team we can do this. I'm going to motivate this guy who I know has so much work and is going through a tough time with his family. I'm going to be here to support him. I'm going to do something good today. You won't believe how the difference it makes in your life. Then when trouble comes your way, it's like, oh, that's Mickey Mouse. It's the small things. I'm here to make a big change in people's lives. That's my purpose. That's my identity. That's what I want to do. And it's a decision you make. And remember, like I said, your code won't be here forever. You won't be remembered, I'm sorry, but you won't be remembered for your code. But you'll be remembered for the fruit that you bear, or the changes, that attitude, that your character, that person who you are. That's who you'll be remembered for. Hey, man, I remember that guy who I met we were working in India, and 7 years later, yeah, he was always so positive. No, he was so resilient. I wish I could be like him. How do I get that right? How can I be that person so that I inspire someone else? If things becomes tough in your company, don't go to another company unless you're not sure you have to. Because you know what? There's just going to be different problems there. Be that change maker. Look at things, look at it through a different lens. Stand firm in your identity, live purposefully, understand the journey, it will change. Look inward, manage yourself, deal with fear and anxiety. If you don't deal with it, you're going to be stuck, you're going to be in bondage. Don't isolate yourself, don't deal with it alone. There are people around you who can help you. Never give up, please. Change your lenses. I hope that after today, you will go away from this conference and you'll be resilient. You'll be strong. You know trouble will come your way, but calm seas never made good sailors. Bring it on. Bring it on, because I'm surrounded with people who support me. I know who I am. I'm going to make it. I'm going to learn. I'm going to be stronger. Some of you have your own businesses. I'm going to be stronger. I'm going to build. I'm going to go bankrupt. I'm going to rebuild. I'm going to go bankrupt. I'm going to be rebuilt. Every time that happens, you're stronger. I want to say to you that you are precious. I'm a developer. I developed for 25 years. And for 3 years now, I'm a security and compliance director, looking after the privacy and security of our company and the data of our clients. But I want to tell you, I don't want you to get hurt. Please, look after yourselves. Believe in yourself. Be those change makers here in Cape Town in the tech industry. Don't neglect the development and the nurturing of non-technical skills. You're going to need to be strong. Have an armor, can't be pierced. And I hope that after today, you will connect with me, and I will have the privilege of journeying with you, if you like. I thank you for your time. I love you guys. You are beautiful people. Please look after yourselves. Thank you. Thank you.